The outside world is a scary place. Sometimes you're not even safe inside your own home. So let's go back to Reddit to find some more true Let's Not Meet stories. Someone's creeping at my sister's window. It all started 2 nights ago. I recently moved back home with my mum. I'm from Canada, and I've been living halfway across the country and recently moved back. My mum offered me her couch so I could get my feet back under me. Before I went to bed, I was reading a bunch of horror stories. Stories about stalkers and watching videos of strange encounters. I eventually fell asleep with my phone in my hand and began to have frightening dreams. I don't remember what they were about. I just remember them making me feel uneasy in my sleep. They don't happen often, but when they do, I can remember more how I felt rather than the dreams themselves. Around 2 a.m., my sister, who is 18, woke me up and told me, "I heard someone walking outside my window and saw a flash of light directly on me. I wanted to close it, but I couldn't. Could you close it for me?" I woke up terrified, but willing to do anything to protect my sister, and marched into her room. For a little bit of background, I'm 21 and a male, and my parents are divorced, so it's just my little sister, my mum, and I. Our father was fairly absent in our lives, so I've always been the father figure in her life. Anyways, I go into her room, look out the window, and lock it. We live in a townhouse. My mum and my sister sleep downstairs, and I sleep upstairs on the couch. Around the windows there's rocks, so it's easy to hear anyone that might come close. Nothing else happened that night. The next day, I managed to get a bed, so I'm sleeping in my room that night, which is on the same side as my sister's. My mum's room is on the other side of the basement. That night, my sister decided to sleep at her boyfriend's. I always sleep with my windows wide open. I'm also a light sleeper. At around the same time, I hear the rocks moving. I can tell it is a heavy-set person, as it is waking me up and I begin to move. I can hear this person leave the rocks. I was able to tell that it was by her window and not my own. I could also tell that it was a heavier set person due to the way that the rocks sounded while moving. I wish I'd had enough energy to run outside. But sadly, by the time I actually realized, that person had already gone. I'm just glad my sister wasn't home. I'm from Canada, in Saskatchewan, and recently there has been a lot of sex trafficking posts going around. My sister is so beautiful, and I'm worried that that's who has been peering into her window. It could also be an old or young man creeping on her, or a young child who is curious. Regardless, I made sure to put a wooden stop in her window, to make sure it couldn't open enough to let someone in. I also stacked a couple of things in front of the window, to make sure no one could see in. I also left my window wide open, so that if I heard anything, I could be out there in a heartbeat to beat the living crap out of the person who is creeping on my sister. So to the man or woman who is creeping on my baby sister, let's not meet, or else you're gonna wish we never met. creepy old man. I'll preface this by saying that I am more often than not mistaken for being much younger than I really am, especially in my late 20s and early 30s. I was frequently told by people that they thought I was about 10 years younger than I really was. I constantly had experiences where I was talked down to or inappropriately hit on. People also often tried to take advantage of me, not only because I was female, but because they perceived my age as much younger than I really was. Now here goes. My boyfriend and I were going shopping, and we walked into a dollar store. I hate to shop, and my boyfriend likes to look at everything. So I usually go and gather all of our stuff while he putters around. I know. I always play video games and he doesn't. He cooks. I don't. Basically, he's the chick and I'm the dude. Anyway, we split up and do our individual shopping, and this dapper little old man, probably late 60s, early 70s, comes up to me and holds out his arm like he expects me to take it. "Come on," he says. At first, this doesn't set off any alarm bells, because he looks pretty harmless. Well-groomed, clean suit, decorative cane, even a jaunty little bowler hat with a feather in the brim. I figured that he was a little confused and was mistaking me for either a store employee or a family member. So I let him talk to me about the weather and such. When I'm about to make my excuse and be on my way, he holds out his arm again and says, "Come on." Again. "I'm sorry," I say. "I think you have me confused with someone else. Are you looking for someone?" He starts chatting again, and during this chat, he asks me if I have a job. All the while, he's slowly and subtly gravitating to the front of the store. I'm a little thick sometimes, I admit, and I answer honestly that I didn't. I was taking time off for health issues. He gets very close-like, in my face, close, and whispers something vague about how he has all kinds of work at his house, and that he needs it done, and he's sure he can find something for me at his house. And then he tips me a wink. I'm instantly like, oh hell no. But I maintain my cool, and with my smile never faltering, I tell him, I'm very lucky that I have a husband who supports me. Luckily, my boyfriend picked that exact moment to step around the corner and appear at the end of the aisle. As soon as he heard husband, the little old man's expression instantly changed. He went from friendly, happy, smiley grandpa dude to angry, scared creeper guy. He disappeared so quickly that I began to suspect he teleported. I never even saw where he went. He was gone that fast. I would have written it off as just a poor, elderly gentleman who had maybe gotten a bit confused until I saw that wink. It was further cemented by the instant change in his expression. He was not confused. It was definitely an act. I've been hit on by men of inappropriate age before, and I've laughed it off. This was not that. It was straight up creepy. I shudder to think what he had in mind. So, creepy old man in the dollar store. Let's not meet again. The creepy man at Goodwill. I've been wanting to purchase more summer clothes recently, but the idea of spending a lot of money at stores like H&M and Forever 21 isn't appealing to me. So I decided to go thrifting this afternoon to look around and see if I could find any summer clothes. Around 2 p.m, I went to my local Goodwill. The first 45 minutes were pretty uneventful. I found some stuff I liked, and I was pretty much done. But before going to the checkout line to purchase my things, I wanted to see if they sold any cheap jewellery. I wasn't looking for diamond rings or the heart of the ocean from Titanic. I just wanted to know if they sold any cheap rings or necklaces. I went up to an employee standing in the back by the books and other houseware items and asked if they sold jewellery. He informed me that Goodwill doesn't carry jewellery at all, so I thanked him and was heading towards the front. However, while I was speaking to the Goodwill employee, I noticed a man in his early to mid-50s staring at me a few feet away. Keep in mind, I'm a 20-year-old female, so any time I'm out by myself and older men start staring at me, I automatically get the creeps. As soon as the employee and I parted ways, the man who was staring at me immediately approached me. I was taken aback, to say the least. Something just didn't feel right. He must have overheard the conversation between me and the employee, because as soon as he came up, he asked if I was looking for real or fake jewellery. I didn't know how to respond, so I just said I was looking for either or. I was slowly backing away with my cart, but the man kept walking closer to me. He wasn't in my face, but he was still too close for my liking. The man responded by saying, "If you want, I have some jewellery in my car." By this point, my spidey senses were tingling. I watch a lot of true crime documentaries, so I know how this scenario ends. I immediately say no and I run away with my cart. The guy even followed me a few aisles up, but I dashed back to the clothing section towards the front. Even though there were several aisles between us, I still felt that man's eye on me. I looked back towards the section I was previously in, and he was just staring at me. I had planned on staying for another few minutes just to look at one more thing, but I made my executive decision to buy my things and leave. I rushed to the cash register, purchased my items, and ran out of Goodwill. Thankfully, I have pepper spray in my purse at all times, because it's legal to carry in my state. I kept that in my grip until I made it safely to my car. The creepy man didn't follow me out, but I still drove away as fast as possible. I'm relieved I trusted my instincts and got out of Goodwill as fast as possible. However, it's been a couple of hours and I'm still shaken up. If there's one thing you take away from my story, make sure you always trust your gut. And to the creepy man at Goodwill, let's never meet again.